Welcome back to Project 613, and today we will learn one mitzvah, but one really important mitzvah. And believe it or not, you can fulfill this mitzvah just by watching until the end of this video, because that is the mitzvah of Torah study. We know this mitzvah from the verse in the Shema that says, Veshinantam levanecha, you shall teach your children. But this verse firstly refers to the basic mitzvah of studying Torah, where each individual is obligated to study Torah every day. We are also obligated, as the verse says, Veshinantam levanecha, to teach our children. And our sages tell us that the words teach your children also is a reference to teach your students, because when a person teaches students, his students are considered his spiritual children. Parents teach their children Torah from when they begin speaking. We teach our children Torah tziva lanu Moshe morasha kilat Yaakov. The Torah is an inheritance for each and every Jew. And we infuse in our children a love for the Torah and for Torah study. What happens if you don't know how to teach your children Torah? Well, you are obligated to hire a teacher, to pay someone to teach your children Torah. That's how integral and important this mitzvah is. No Jewish child should be deprived of a Jewish education. This is a mitzvah that the Jewish people throughout the generations sacrificed their life for, to make sure that the values, the mitzvot, and the traditions of the Torah should be passed on to the next generation. In fact, our sages tell us that a town or a village that doesn't teach its children Torah is deserving to be destroyed. The word vishinantam levanecha also comes from the Hebrew root of shinun, which means sharpness, sharp. And our sages tell us, and Maimonides writes this in today's mitzvah, that this is a reference that the words of Torah should be sharp on our tongue. They should be at the tip of our tongue. If someone ever asks us a question about any given topic of Torah learning, we should have the answer right on the tip of our tongue. We shouldn't stammer or stutter. We should be able to respond immediately. The mitzvah of Torah study is also repeated numerous times in the Torah for this very reason, because it's considered so integral and because it's considered so central. It's for this reason that we find it repeated quite a few times in the Torah. Finally, from a Hasidic perspective, it's explained in Tanya chapter 5 that the mitzvah of Torah study is unique compared to all other mitzvahs of the Torah, in that we are connected to Hashem through Torah study in a deeper connection and a more profound unity, more than any of the other mitzvot of the Torah. Why? Because the Torah is Hashem's will, it's Hashem's wisdom. And when we study the Torah with our mind, what's happening is that into our brain is entering Hashem's will and Hashem's wisdom as it's enclosed in the Torah. And at that moment, there is a tremendous unity between the human brain and the divine infinite will and wisdom that's embedded in the Torah. So when we study Torah, we are uniting with Hashem in an unbelievable unity that's not achievable in any other way we know. So every day, we should set aside time to study Torah. Not a day should go by without a devoted amount of time for Torah study. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.